Welcome to Folktale Studio. Tonight, you are invited to walk into a story shaped by moonlight, water, and quiet courage. This is not a tale of noise or battles. This is a story about the kind of bravery that grows quietly inside a heart. This is the story of Amara, the girl who married the moon. In a small village hugged by two green hills and a slow silver river, there lived a girl named Amara. The villagers called the place Neruwa. By day, Neruwa was ordinary. Goats wandered dusty paths. Boats knocked gently against wooden docks. Women sold fruit by the roadside while chasing flies away with folded cloth. But by night, Neruwa changed. The river became a mirror, the air softened, and the moon painted the world in silver. That was Amara's favorite time. While the other children ran home before darkness fell, Amara remained by the riverbank, sitting cross-legged on smooth stone that remembered the warmth of the sun. She liked to watch the moon's reflection tremble in the water. She believed the moon was alive, not in the way birds are alive, not in the way people are alive, but in the way stories are alive. Amara asked the moon questions, not out loud, never loudly. She whispered them into the wind, into the river, into the space between her breath and silence. Do you get lonely? Do you see me? Where do you go when the sky is empty? The moon never answered with words, but Amara felt something answering, a softness in her chest, a warmth behind her eyes, a gentle peace, like being wrapped in a blanket she could not see. Her family found her strange. Her father was kind but quiet. Her mother worked endlessly and worried loudly. Her brothers teased her for talking to air and light. "Amara, you are 10 years old," her mother once said. "You must stop dreaming." But Amara did not know how. Dreams came to her the way waves came to sand, naturally, unstoppable. Every night, Amara prepared little rituals for the moon. She placed a bowl of water outside her door. She whispered goodnight to the river. She left a tiny stone beside the mango tree as a thank you offering. Not because anyone taught her, but because something inside her said it mattered. On the night everything changed. The air itself seemed to hold its breath. No crickets sang, no owls called. The river did not speak. And the moon grew brighter than ever before. Not just bright, alive. Amara felt it pull her, not physically, not painfully, but like a hand gently closing around her heart. She walked barefoot from her home down to the river. The grass whispered beneath her feet. The village slept. Then the light descended. Not violently, not suddenly. It poured downward, slow as milk, bright as tomorrow. A column of silver wrapped around Amara like a mother's arms. She did not scream. She did not run. She did not faint. She simply whispered, "I'm here." And the moon replied, with silence and power. Amara rose. The roof of her world fell away beneath her feet. The river shrank. The village curled into itself like a sleeping child. The hills bent into shadows, and the sky, the great listening sky, opened. Amara expected cold. She expected emptiness. Instead, she arrived in a place that breathed. A palace not built, but becoming. Walls shaped from moon mist. Floors that hummed softly like resting oceans. Windows that opened into eternity. There were no doors, no locks, no edges. Every corner curved into peace. Amara walked. Her feet made no sound. Light bent around her. She passed gardens where flowers glowed without sunlight. Bridges spun from silver dust connected floating halls. Water ran upward in glowing ribbons. Above her, below her, the sky moved slowly like a living ceiling. Then she saw him. The moon stood not as a man, but not as a shape either. He was light given thought, glow given breath. He did not speak with sound, he spoke with feeling. Amara felt his voice before she understood it. "You are not here by accident." She bowed, not because she was told to, but because her heart bent. Amara lived in the palace, or perhaps time lived through her. Days did not count themselves there. Weeks unfolded like mist. Seasons did not exist, but change did. The moon taught her without teaching. He did not instruct, he invited. He showed her silence and let her learn to hear inside it. He showed her emptiness and let her discover fullness. He placed her in stillness until it sang. She learned patience, not as waiting, but as listening. She learned kindness, not as duty, but as power. She learned courage, not as shouting, but as standing when scared. One evening, if evenings exist in heaven, the moon led her to the edge of the palace. A single dim star trembled in darkness. It looked tired, lonely, small. The moon's voice settled inside Amara's mind like a breath. Take this light home, not for show, not for praise, but to plant it in hearts. Amara held the star. It was warm, soft, fragile, and heavy. Not with weight, with meaning. The journey home would not be easy. The moon did not pretend it would. Between stars lay trials not of fire, but of feeling. Amara would face waiting, loneliness, doubt. She would choose between noise and quiet, between pride and kindness, between comfort and courage. But she did not hesitate. She folded the star into her chest and stepped into night. Amara did not fall when she left the palace. She drifted, as if the sky itself had decided to carry her slowly, gently, the way a river carries leaves that are not yet ready to sink. The palace faded behind her like a memory, and ahead. There was no road, no bridge, only space. And then, something darker than night appeared beneath her feet. It was not black, it was empty. A vast hollow stretched ahead, deeper than any valley, wider than any desert. This was the Valley of Silence, the first place between heaven and earth. The moon had warned her, not with fear, not with mystery, only with truth. This place will try to empty you. Amara stepped forward, and as she did, all sound disappeared. Her feet made no echo, her breath made no whisper. Even her heartbeat felt distant, like it belonged to someone else. The silence was not peaceful. It was thick, heavy. It pressed against her chest like invisible hands. At first, Amara thought she had gone deaf. She opened her mouth to speak. No voice came, not because she could not speak, but because sound itself had stopped existing. She walked. The ground beneath her shimmered like smoked glass. Above her, no moon, no stars, no sky, only endless gray. She did not know how long she walked. Minutes, hours, years. Time behaved strangely there. And then, the silence began to speak, not with sound, with memory. She saw her mother standing over her, frowning. "You must grow out of your dreaming. She saw her brothers laugh as she whispered to the moon, "Strange girl." She saw villagers shake their heads. Her mind is in the clouds. Then the memories changed. She saw herself sitting alone, older, unheard, unnoticed, unloved. The silence wrapped around her thoughts like fog. It filled the empty spaces inside her heart with questions. Does anyone really need you? Was your light ever real? Would the world even notice if you vanished? Amara stopped walking. Her strength fell away, slow and heavy. Not like pain, like sleep. Her knees touched the silent ground. She sat there, small in the great emptiness, and for the first time since leaving Neruwa, Amara cried. But even her tears made no sound. They slid down her face and disappeared without a trace. She hugged the star closer. Its warmth had dimmed. It flickered weakly, like a candle inside a bottle. Amara whispered, though she knew sound did not exist there. "I am afraid." Nothing answered. The silence grew thicker, heavier. It pressed against her like walls closing in. And then, very faint, very far, she felt something strange. Not sound, not sight. A feeling, like hands on her shoulders, not the moon's hands, another's, small ones, weak ones, trembling ones. Voices formed inside her, not as noise, but as need. A sick child, a grieving man, a lonely woman, a broken family. People she had not yet met, hearts that had not yet opened. They did not speak her name. They did not know her yet, but they were calling, not for Amara, for the light she carried. She opened her eyes, and in the star, she saw not herself. She saw others. A child laughing, a mother holding her newborn, an old man smiling at the sun. The light inside the star pulsed. The silence cracked, not loudly, softly, like ice breaking on a lake. Amara stood. She did not shout, she did not run, but she walked, and the valley stepped backward. Each step she took, the silence weakened, because silence has no power over someone who carries light for others. And with that understanding, the silence released her, not because it was defeated, but because it could no longer hold her. Beyond the valley, a new challenge waited. Not darkness, not quiet, but wind. A wind so cold it had teeth. A wind that did not chill skin. It chilled memory. This place was called the wind that steals names. The moment Amara stepped into that wind, she forgot her village. Not all at once, not suddenly. The forgetting came like snowfall, soft, slow, relentless. She forgot the sound of the river, then the color of her mother's cloth, then the face of the mango tree. She forgot her father's laugh, her brother's footsteps, the smell of cooked grain at night. Then something worse. She forgot why she left. The star flickered violently now. Its light fluttered like a frightened bird. The wind whispered, "Why are you walking? Who are you doing this for? Who are you?" Amara pressed forward, but her legs felt lighter, too light, like they were fading. She looked at her hands, and she screamed. But no sound came. Her fingers were becoming transparent, her skin thinning into glow. The wind laughed, not loudly, cruelly, silently, the kind of laugh that comes from inside your own thoughts. The wind had one purpose, not to kill her, to erase her. Her knees buckled. She fell into swirling frost. The star slipped from her chest and hovered above her, trembling. The wind hissed, "You do not exist. Let go." And in that instant, Amara almost did. Almost. Then, through the chaos, a smell rose inside her memory. Water, warm earth, moonlight in leaves. She saw her drums, her bowls, her rituals, and the sound of her own whisper. "I'm here." She grabbed the star, not gently, not carefully, fiercely, and though no sound existed, she spoke inside her heart. "My name is Amara." The star flared, the wind shrieked, the cold shattered, and with a rush like breath returning, the world reassembled. The wind fled, and Amara stood again, whole, firm, remembering. She did not cry. She did not fall, but something inside her had changed. She no longer walked as a girl. She walked as a carrier of light, of lives, of meaning. And ahead, the final trial of the journey waited. The greatest threat, not darkness, not silence, not forgetting, but return. The gate appeared quietly. No warnings, no thunder, just a door, floating in space, made of shifting silver, beautiful, familiar. It glowed with Neruwa's colors. Beyond it, she could see her village, exactly as it was, exactly as she remembered. Her mother cooking, her brothers chasing goats, her old mat waiting, all warm, all real. And for the first time, the moon did not speak inside her. There was no guidance, no reassurance, no voice, only choice. A final whisper emerged, not from outside, but from herself. "You can go home now, and forget the star. No one would blame you." Her chest tightened. The village looked so safe, so close, so simple. The star pulsed weakly in her arms. If she went through that door, the world would never change, but she would be warm. But if she turned away, there was still travail, loss, loneliness, endless giving, and little thanks. She stood there a long time, and then she remembered the faces she had never met, the ones who called in the valley. She remembered the sick woman, the grieving man, the child with no laughter yet. She looked at the village, then at the star, and made her choice. She turned away from comfort and toward purpose, and the gate faded. Amara did not fall from the sky. She descended the way a forgotten song returns, slowly, softly, one note at a time. Not with thunder, not with fire, but with a hush so gentle that even the leaves leaned closer to listen. The cold distance of the stars thinned into night air. The endless dark folded itself into wind. The vast quiet became the scent of river water and cooking fires. And below her, the world she had left was waiting. The village of Neruwa, cradled between two old hills, breathing in deep sleep. From above, it looked the same. From within, she knew it was changed. The river had lost its laughter. The moon still hung high, but its voice no longer echoed along the water's edge. The homes lay like tired birds with folded wings. Even the dogs, who once barked joyfully at drifting shadows, now slept as though carrying heavy dreams. Amara drifted down slowly, hugging the small star close to her chest. It was smaller now, dim. Not because it was dying, but because it was remembering what it felt like to be small. Light, she had learned, often hides itself when it is close to becoming something important. Her feet touched the earth without sound. The dust of Neruwa welcomed her like an old friend. For a moment, she did not move. She did not speak. She did not even breathe fully. She stood barefoot in the night and listened.
The village was breathing.
Not the deep breathing of safety, but the shallow breathing of exhaustion. She walked slowly through the narrow paths, past the old well where women once laughed while drawing water, past the palm hut where a grandmother used to tell stories until children fell asleep smiling, past the tamarind tree where boys once carved promises into the bark. All were still there, and none were the same. Doors were closed earlier than usual. Fires were dimmer. The songs that once stitched night and morning together had unraveled from memory. Amara felt it now. Grief. Not sharp, not loud, but everywhere. Like dust. It clung to the air. It rested in small places, beneath doorways, inside bowls, between neighbors who no longer lingered to talk. She passed a home where a baby whimpered softly. The mother did not sing. She rocked slowly in darkness. Her eyes were open, but they were not seeing. Amara's chest tightened. The star against her heart pulsed once. Not bright, but steady, like a heartbeat. She entered the center of the village and sat at the base of the old mango tree, the same tree where she once left her little stones for the moon. It still leaned toward the river, still remembered its reflection, but its leaves drooped like tired hands. Amara pressed her palm against its bark and whispered, "I am home." The words sank into the wood, into the ground, into the roots beneath her toes. Nothing grand happened. No light burst from the sky, no wind spun the leaves, but something deeper stirred. The mango tree exhaled, not with sound, with relief. She sat there long into the night, holding the dim star and listening. The village did not rush her. The night did not demand anything. For the first time since leaving the Palace of Moonlight, she felt the true weight of her task. This was not about magic. This was not about wonder. This was about staying, about being gentle where the world had grown rough, about remembering what everyone else had forgotten. Hours passed. The moon crossed slowly from one ridge of sky to the other. A rooster shifted in its sleep. A door opened and closed somewhere. Then, quietly, so quietly even Amara barely noticed, the star warmed. Not brighter, warmer. The warmth crept from her chest into her arms, from her arms into her fingertips, from her fingertips into the earth. The soil beneath her shimmered faintly, not with light, but with life. The mango leaves lifted slightly. The air softened. Somewhere nearby, the whimpering baby fell silent. A quiet, rested silence. Across the village, an old man stirred awake in his hut, not because of noise, but because for the first time in many nights, his dreams had color. He sat up slowly, confused. He looked around and whispered, "It feels like tomorrow." A woman across the river sat up from her mat suddenly and covered her mouth in shock. She hadn't realized she was smiling. A fisherman woke with the ache in his hands gone. A boy, who had not spoken in weeks, rolled over and laughed quietly in his sleep. None of them knew why. They did not see the star. They did not see Amara. They felt something else. Hope. Not loud hope, not foolish hope. A quiet remembering. Of warmth. Of purpose. Of morning being worth waiting for. Amara stayed by the mango tree until the eastern sky softened with pale blue. until the birds dared their first notes again, until the river began whispering stories to the rocks. When dawn finally touched the village, Neruwa woke differently, not excited, not healed, just lighter. The star in Amara's arms dimmed one more time, and then it did something strange. It vanished. Not suddenly, not frighteningly, it simply dissolved, like sugar into tea. The warmth it left behind did not disappear. It remained, inside her, inside the tree, inside the village. Amara stood slowly. She did not feel empty. She felt full, like a lamp that had just been lit from inside. She looked once more at the sky. The moon was fading, not because it was leaving, but because daylight was brave enough to return. She whispered, "I will take care of them." And the wind whispered back, "I know." Amara did not announce her return. The village awoke that morning with no idea that anything extraordinary had happened. There were no crowds, no drums, no prayers shouted into the dawn, no elders pointing at the sky. Just a morning like any other. And yet, everything was different. The river flowed the same way it always had, but it sounded closer, as if it had leaned toward the village during the night. The sun rose in its familiar climb, but its light did not feel harsh. It felt kind. Smoke lifted from cooking fires, but instead of stinging eyes, it carried the scent of memory. Bread, warm earth, old laughter. Amara woke beneath the mango tree with dew on her hair and birds rehearsing songs overhead. She stretched slowly, not because she was tired, but because being alive felt good again. For a moment, she wondered if it had all been a dream, the palace, the moon, the star. But when she placed her hand against her heart, she felt it. The warmth was still there, not burning, not bright, but alive, like an ember tucked safely beneath ash. She stood, brushed the dust from her dress, and quietly walked back into her village. The first person to truly see her was old Mama Tola. Her hut stood near the well, a small round house with walls the color of tired earth. Mama Tola had not opened her door in weeks. Her grief had been loud once. Then it became quiet, the kind of quiet that eats. That morning, her door opened slowly. She blinked at the sun as if uncertain it had permission to rise. That was when she saw Amara, standing by the well, barefoot, still. Mama Tola's hand lifted to her mouth. "Little moon child," she whispered. Her voice shook. Amara turned, smiled, and everything in the old woman broke open. Not painfully, gently. Mama Tola crossed the distance in small, careful steps, as though Amara might vanish if she moved too quickly. She touched Amara's cheek, warm, real, and began to cry. Not tearful crying, relieved crying. Amara did not speak. She wrapped her arms around Mama Tola's thin back and held her the way the earth holds rain, without asking it to stop. People noticed. Not in celebration, not in alarm, just in quiet curiosity. Children paused mid-run. Fathers slowed their steps. Market women lingered. A circle formed, loose and human and unsure. Amara stood among them, ordinary, changed. Someone finally asked, "Where did you go?" Amara did not say, "To the moon." She did not say, "Beyond the sky." She said, "I went where the light was waiting for me," and no one laughed. because somewhere inside them, they had felt that light return. Amara did not take a place on a mat of honor. She did not ask the elders to listen. She did not climb a tree to speak loudly. She did something else. She began to help. That very morning, she drew water, not with ease, but with joy. She swept porches, not quickly, but kindly. She listened to complaints, not with advice, with patience. She sat beside a boy whose father had died and did not speak for a long time. When he finally did, it wasn't about death. It was about birds. She cooked with mothers. She carried baskets for old men. She laughed with children. Nothing she did was impressive. Everything she did was important. People felt it. Whenever she entered a space, something softened. Words arrived more gently. Anger forgot itself. Loneliness had less room to stretch. People did not say, "She is magical." They said, "She makes it easier to breathe when she is nearby." Every evening, Amara sat by the river again. Not in secret, openly. People began to join her, not to worship, not to perform, just to be. At first it was uncomfortable. People did not know what to do without noise, without tasks, without talking. But Amara showed them how. She simply sat. She listened. To water, to frogs, to breath. Not trying to fill the silence, trusting it. Soon, the silence stopped feeling empty. It felt full, like a bowl that catches wind. One night, a farmer spoke quietly into the dark. "My hands remember farming, but my heart forgot." Another said, "I forgot what joy sounded like." Someone else whispered, "I am tired from carrying yesterday into today." Amara did not answer. She placed her palm on the ground, and they followed. Suddenly, it felt like the earth itself was answering. Slowly, invisibly, something ancient returned. Connection. Not dramatic, deep. Weeks passed, then months. The village of Neruwa changed the way rivers change land. Gradually, without announcement, children began to run again. Songs returned in pieces. Shops stayed open longer. Flowers appeared in doorways where grief had once lived. People laughed and were surprised by it. They made plans again. They repaired roofs. They painted doors. They woke with reasons. And through it all, Amara did not lead. She walked, beside, among, with. And one day, an old man pointed at her and said softly, "The mornings feel like her now." Words spread, not loudly, not like gossip, like truth. She feels like dawn, not brightness. Permission to start again, not perfection, possibility. People did not call her the girl who went to the moon anymore. They called her the girl who became morning. One evening, a little girl took Amara's hand. "Will the moon ever take you away again?" Amara knelt, smiled, touched her heart. "The moon didn't take me away," she said. "It showed me how to come back." The child frowned. "But what about the star?" Amara leaned close, whispered, "The star isn't gone. It learned how to be human." The girl pressed her ear to Amara's chest and gasped, "I hear it." Amara laughed quietly. So did the child. And the sky kept watching. That night, the moon rose over Neruwa, not claiming, not calling, watching, proud as only the night can be. And somewhere between the sky and the soil, The light had found its place. The road appeared before the visitors did, not suddenly, not loudly, just quietly. The dust along the eastern path began to rise more often than usual, not from cattle, not from traders, but from something slower, wandering feet, the kind that belong to people who are searching, but not sure for what. The first traveler arrived at dawn. He stood at the edge of Neruwa with a bent back and eyes that had stopped expecting kindness. He said he came from beyond the salt plains. He said the earth had stopped speaking where he lived. He said he had walked toward night for many suns because somewhere, someone had whispered, "There is a village where people are learning to breathe again." No one asked who told him. No one wondered how news travels when it wants to. They welcomed him, not with celebration, with water, with shade, with silence. And the road did what roads do when they smell hope. It widened. Others came, a woman with hands scarred from fire, a boy whose eyes had learned crying too early, an old soldier who still walked like war lived inside his chest. They arrived without banners, without stories rehearsed. They arrived carrying their undone lives like spilled grain. The village did not question them, did not weigh them, did not measure worth. Amara refused to become a gatekeeper. She did not ask people where they came from. She asked where it hurt. And the village learned to listen the way fields listen to rain, without suspicion, without borders, without delay. Something beautiful happened, and something dangerous. When healing spreads, it does not go unnoticed. Nearby villages whispered, traders talked, markets repeated, and truth moves faster when it is both gentle and strange. Some came out of curiosity, some out of hunger, some out of need, and some came with shadows still dancing under their ribs. Not everyone arrived looking for light. Some arrived hoping to own it. One afternoon, a man rode into Neruwa on a white horse. His robes shone. His rings spoke before his mouth did. His name was Kadesh. He bowed, not deeply, just enough to look polite. "I have heard of you," he said to Amara, "the girl who brings morning." Amara felt the shift in the wind. She had learned its language, and this wind was sharp. "I came to offer something," Kadesh continued. "Protection, resources, a bigger stage. You should not waste this gift in a village so small." Amara listened, not to his words, to the spaces between them. "You could be known," he said. "You could teach kingdoms. You could command hearts." Amara asked softly, "And if I say no?" He smiled, the wrong way. "Oh, child," he said, "light that will not shine where it is told is wasted light." That night, Amara did not sleep. She waited for the moon, listened. Silence, not empty, instructional. Amara learned something heavy that night. The moon would not decide this for her. Amara refused Kadesh, quietly, publicly, kindly. He left like all people who are denied power do, smiling. But his smile did not belong to his face. And then the rumors started. They say she is dangerous. She controls people. She uses spirits. She pretends humility. Word traveled, just as light had. Fear always learns from light, and it lies better. Some travelers stopped coming. Some villagers grew uncertain, not angry, just afraid. Amara did not argue. She stayed. She swept porches. She drew water. She sat by the river. The people watched, and slowly, truth returned, shoulders first, then voice, then eyes. One night, A stone shattered the silence. Not loudly, not dramatically, just enough to remind everyone, healing threatens what harms. Amara cleaned the broken window herself, said nothing. The village stood, watched, learned. Amara did not defend her name. She defended her love, not with words, with presence. She did not rise above the village, she sunk into it, like rain sinks into dust. People realized something. Amara was not the light. She was the place where it landed. And places cannot be stolen. Not everyone stayed. Some could not bear quiet. Some did not want healing if it asked patience. They left carrying more than they brought, lighter, stronger, not always aware, but changed. One woman whispered as she departed, "The world aches louder than I knew, but here it learned to breathe." One night a child asked, "Will the whole world come here?" Amara shook her head. "No," she said, "but the light will go everywhere you go." The child frowned. "How?" Amara smiled. "Because you carry it now." And so Neruwa remains small and large and bright and quiet. And the road outside its gates never closed, because the world had begun listening again. If you'd like to continue, just say, "The first sign was not a dream, not a prophecy, not a voice from the moon. It was a looseness, a quiet loosening in Amara's chest. The same feeling you get when a door has been gently unlatched somewhere inside you, and you didn't know it was locked." For days, she tried to ignore it. For nights, she sat longer by the river, but the feeling did not leave. It waited. Neruwa had changed. People laughed again, but the laughter carried thought now. Children played, but they watched the sky while they did. Fires burned, but with calm instead of fear. The village no longer needed a torch. The warmth had become its walls. And that frightened Amara, not because it was wrong, but because it meant something else was coming. Light stays until it is no longer needed. Then it moves. And Amara knew. The star had done its work here. The river had been her first teacher, so she returned to it. She knelt, touched the water, spoke aloud. "Don't send me anywhere I am not ready." The river said nothing, but it pulled slightly stronger past her ankles. She laughed, through tears. "You always answer in riddles." The river, as always, just kept going. Amara did not announce anything. Doors do not announce when they are opening, but people sensed difference before it had language. Mira came to her with bread one morning and paused. "You're thinner." Amara touched her own face. "I eat." Mira shook her head. "No, you carry less." It was Lumo who finally said it. He had been fishing badly again, sat beside Amara, and said, "You're leaving." Not a question, not angry, not afraid, just noticing. Amara stared at the water so long she nearly disappeared inside it. "Yes," Lumo nodded. Then, "Okay." She did not expect the strength in his voice. He surprised her. "How can you be okay?" He shrugged. "You taught us that light travels." Amara pressed her lips together, because children always know when adults are pretending not to. No trumpet, no farewell festival, no final speech. Amara began doing something else instead. She began teaching. Everything she had not said before. She sat with each person, privately, slowly. She did not give instructions. She asked questions. To the baker, "What do you do when the oven is cold?" To the widow, "What do you listen for at night now?" To the fisherman, What does the river teach you most lately? She made them teach themselves, because she knew. People remember what they discover, not what they're given. The morning came unfinished, half light, half dream. The kind of dawn the world saves for people who are not returning. Amara left a bowl of water by the river. One last ritual, one last thank you. But the village felt her absence before they saw it. Like when a fire goes out. Not with smoke, with chill. Mira found the empty mat, said nothing, just broke bread with shaking hands. The children followed her to the hill. Amara turned, smiled, knelt, held their faces like they were moons. "Do not look for me in roads," she said. "Look for me when you are brave." They cried. She didn't, because she had already cried the night before. No silver column came this time, no sky palace, no miracle, just dust and footsteps, and a woman walking into the human world. But something unusual happened. Everywhere she walked, things softened, and she did not even notice. Into loud places, into sharp places, into lives folded too tightly. Amara became nobody, which is the best position for change. In one town, she washed dishes. In another, she swept streets. In another, she only listened. Once, she sat for 3 days beside a boy who would not speak. And on the fourth, he touched her sleeve. Something loosened. Again, and again, and again. No more palace, no more lessons. But when she looked, no matter where she was, the moon looked back. Not as a ruler, as a reminder. You are still known. Neruwa did not fade. It changed shape. People became what they once followed. Lumo taught children to listen. Mira fed travelers with gentleness. The widows began singing again. The fishermen learned patience. No statues built, no holidays invented, just living. And it was enough. Is this? It never needed Amara, and yet it chose her. The same way it chooses any heart willing to stay open long enough. Some nights, a child in a faraway place would dream of a quiet girl carrying a star. They would wake, not knowing why, but they would be braver for it. Long after Amara left the river village, long after her footsteps softened into legend, the light she carried began to gather, not in her hands, not in the sky, but in people, in places where no one remembered Neruwa. Children began asking strange questions. Why does the night listen? Where does bravery sleep? Can light get tired? Adults did not know why these questions sounded important, but they answered gently. When people answer gently, they are closer to truth than they think. The name Amara traveled, but it changed shape. Some said she was a healer, some said a teacher, some said a ghost who carried warmth. Some said she was never real, and that is always the sign of a good story, when it becomes too human to belong to just one tongue. The moon kept rising, impersonal to most, personal to some. On nights when grief weighed more than sleep, it shone slightly more, not brighter, softer, as if leaning closer. No one wrote her name, no one carved her face. She continued walking, listening, giving. And then, one night, she stopped. Not dramatically, not painfully, just stopped walking. She lay on a hillside. The grass whispered. The sky was unbuttoned with stars. Her body did not hurt. It had simply grown too light to carry itself. When a thing has served completely, it rests. No beam, no palace, No stairway of silver, just presence, full, close, like a kneeling. Amara smiled. Am I finally finished? Not with fear, with relief. The moon did not answer, but the night held her, and that was enough. The light she once carried did not rise upward. It spread. It was never meant to go back. Stars do not leave once given. They relocate into memory, into courage, into forgiveness. In her river village, a child sat by the water, tracing light, as Amara once had. Mira, now older, watched, not sadly, softly, and whispered, "Someone else is listening again." It was about arriving, in ways you never see, in lives you never meet, in nights you never stand beneath. Amara did not marry the moon, not the way stories talk about. She married disappearance, which is the hardest kind of fidelity. To continue loving without being witnessed. She didn't vanish. She dispersed, definitely, deliberately, like light does. And just like light, she still touches things without announcing it. A solitary lantern, flickering somewhere unknown, held by someone unnamed, standing at a narrow crossing, unsure, but hopeful. That is where Amara lives now, not in sky, not in memory, in that moment, every time. Stories end when we stop listening, not when they finish speaking. So tonight, if something in you feels warmer, or braver, or more open, then she walked through your life too, quietly, as always. Thank you for listening to the story of Amara, the girl who married the moon. And when you step outside, look up. The moon may not speak, but it still remembers you. Please subscribe for more stories that teach, soothe, and inspire. Tell us in the comments, which small light do you carry? Which lesson will you share? Until the next story, look up, patiently, and listen. Thank you.